I'm feeling very mad about all the things that I'm seeing right now. And I'm having a hard time this morning. I'm choking on my emotions a little bit. I'm very frustrated, okay? My life has been torn apart. I'm trying to fix the situation. It is the Trump administration's fault for destroying my life. Things are pretty shitty for me. I gotta fix it. And I'm watching the situation get worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna fix my own motherfucking situation when it keeps getting worse? I think what's setting me off right now is the Trump administration's stupid ass fucking posting of the memes yesterday and some of the things that were said. People are going around in the grocery stores recording the price of food right now. People are putting the display of the cost of ramen noodles onto their online accounts. Because nobody can afford to eat, and we're coming up on winter. What I do know is that these tariffs are going to be in effect. He's going to continue to do the stupid crap with the tariffs all the way through November because there's a stay in the court. I am not going to censor myself. I am not going to filter myself to try and make people comfortable in ignorance. I am an American citizen. I am using my First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press to express my thoughts and my opinions based on my observations. One of my observations is that there's 340 million Americans, and there's like 200 motherfuckers in Congress and a dumbass holding our presidential executive office. I'm personally not okay with the fact that this person is engaging in violation after violation against the people. And so then with that being said, what I am seeing is that Trump is losing a lot of court cases. How do we get the Marshal Service to fix the problem? Okay, so this is the United States Vice President yesterday, I think it was. The administration murdered some people that were in a boat. And we still don't know who these people are that were murdered. And they're claiming that these people were part of Nicaragua, which was also said about a person that was found not to be of Nicaragua. So I feel I have reason to question just suddenly assassinating people in a boat and then putting it on TV. I think that that is sick and disgusting behavior. I think that it can incite a war with a foreign nation. So then I would call it incitement and an act of aggression. I just want everybody to look at this. And I want you to understand that that's what happened with J.D. Vance in regards to talking about this assassination of random people that we don't even know who the fuck they are. Killing people in a boat and like putting it on public display in front of the whole world. Behavior. And then Donald Trump went and made this post as well. This also happened. How is Chicago about to find out why it's the Department of War, Mr. Gross ass orange man? Huh? You want to explain to me? That seems to me like an insinuation. That seems to me right there as a threat of war against the American people. How is Chicago gonna find out why it's called the war? What called the Department of War? What? Explain that. You just do whatever you want to the American people and you have no explanation and it's shit like this. Treason is the crime of betraying one's country by acts such as attempting to overthrow the government, waging war against it, or providing aid to its enemies. It is defined by national laws such as the U.S. Constitution and requires specific evidence like testimony of two witnesses to the same overt act for conviction. Penalties for treason vary but can include imprisonment, fines, and in some jurisdictions, the death penalty. Key aspects of treason: betrayal of allegiance. At its core, treason involves a breach of the loyalty or allegiance owed to one's own state or sovereign. Legally defined as acts of treason as levying war against the government, giving aid and comfort to enemies of the state, attempting to overthrow the government, spying for a hostile foreign power. I bet you he's doing that shit. Attempting to kill the head of state, levying war. That includes against the people. This definition has been manipulated because it's not reading the same as it was before. Donald Trump, if he is engaging in war, you know what? Even then, our state governments are part of the government. So if you're levying war against any fucking American, I don't give a shit, government or not, you don't fucking wage war against the American people. So when I see this, I mean, it certainly appears to me that that's what he's insinuating. And I have every right as an American citizen to express my concern over these things. And I think that if that's a problem, maybe this fucking gross ass piece of shit ought to explain his behavior then. It's not on me. I have every right to find something like this questionable as fuck. Y'all need to remember that these people who are doing these crimes and hanging out with this administration and assisting these people are making money. They're getting money doing this. So they have motivation to not stop doing what they're doing. I do think they're on a crime spree. At the same time, there's a whole fucking country here, okay? There's 340 million of us, and this needs to stop, okay? There's a point at which America needs to come first. You fucking America first motherfuckers, hear that. And if America comes first, you don't just, like, attack your own cities with the military. I'm just checking my feeds, you know, and I see these people starving in Gaza after their homes have been ravaged by war and bombed and destroyed. I've been looking at, you know, what has happened with Russia in regards to poverty over there because people are stripping their homes from the wood. They're so desperate financially. And when I see what this group of individuals, Donald Trump and fucking Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un, when I see what they're doing, I don't think it's going to turn out too good for any of us. But if he is going to actively siege our military and attempt to engage in conquest across the United States, I mean, and then there's this gold card thing where rich Russians can just purchase citizenship going on as well. I want to point that out. So, with that being said, I want to say fuck Russia. I support that our veterans are trying to educate these young new service members as to their role and responsibility towards the United States Constitution. I would like to see that work continue to be done. Other than that, you know, if our United States military will continue to speak out, you know, for those on the inside and let us know if there's things that you need to blow the whistle on, tell the people. I want to remind people that there is still shady stuff going on with the vote counting as well. It's just being suppressed. People are not being allowed to speak about it, and I also find that concerning. Why can we not discuss public affairs? That's what these things are. So if we're being suppressed for just engaging in discussion about public affairs, that is a problem. Nah, seriously, we have right and reason to care about public safety. Okay, as a country, as a people, it's just a normal thing to do to care about public safety, actually. So, with that being said, then I want to say that I feel like what I'm seeing with the suppression of speech that people appear to be upset about on multiple platforms, being TikTok, YouTube apparently now, which I mean, I guess has been a problem for a while. But this is something that is happening that people are upset about. I'm hearing a lot of creators talk about suppression of speech being an issue. I would like to encourage people to expand out to other platforms and to expand out to some of these so-called free speech platforms that MAGA is using. And we'll just have open public discussion. So let's just listen to Pearl Mania real quick.
Suppressed by Google, and we had no idea. So all of us are being suppressed by Google, and we had no idea. None whatsoever. I just found out how much I'm being suppressed. My wife and I worked really hard to get this thing for our podcast. Podcast is called Too Many Tabs. We've worked really, really hard. We finally started having episodes do really well, and we picked up a lot of people who've been checking out Too Many Tabs over here. And then I was scrolling around today, and I noticed that our views are down. And I see a video by a long-form creator who starts talking about the AI age gate restrictions and restricted mode that people are being automatically put in on Google, specifically over here. So I go and I take a look. I go to my settings and I turn on restricted mode, okay? I turn this thing on. When I did that, all of these episodes that we've been posting for years went from being able to be seen to completely missing. Completely missing. It's driving me insane. They're hiding it from people. People don't even know what they're missing. People don't even know that they're not seeing the content because some of them have been put in this restricted mode without...
He's yelling about YouTube. I'm seeing a lot of people get upset at things that are happening on TikTok with their followers being forced to unfollow and stuff. Weird shit going on these platforms, but I will say that I do think that the people, generally speaking, ought to have the right to discuss issues of public safety. And if we're being prevented from doing that, I find that incredibly concerning. And I think it's unacceptable. And I think that we should continue to make efforts to speak about public safety and things that happen around us. I don't think that public affairs is something that should be getting silenced. So I endorse Blue Sky for free speech. If you would like to fight against the bots, I suggest going to Clapper. Instagram is part of Meta. I don't trust it. I don't fucking use it. I don't understand why people are using it. Like, I understand that there's people over there, but I don't understand why the hell y'all are over there. I'm not down with that fucking app, dude. I think it's like a trailer park of the internet. And we're going to talk about Meta. Oh, but yeah, Clapper is this weird app. I don't know who owns it, but it's really easy to get followers over there because there's so many Russian bots spreading misinformation that people are hungry for actual knowledge over there. So I would like to point that out. But you cannot share your posts with other people. Like, if you see something, it's not like TikTok where there's a share button. So I think that if Clapper wanted to improve its platform, that ought to be something they should consider, is to make it so people are actually able to interact. A lot of, like, real trailer, trashy, just garbage fucking content on here. It looks like it's starting to get better of people getting kind of sick of the propaganda shit and fighting back over here. So if you want to fight propaganda, this would be where I would go to do it. This website is another right-wing extremist platform. But I will say that, like, it gives me the opportunity to monetize the moment I show up. So I've been uploading my video archive from YouTube over to this, transferring it. And that's how much I've earned. And I have like 200 videos on here already. So that's kind of crappy. But fuck it, dude. I got some followers. I don't know if they're bots or not. I kind of think they're bots. But yeah, I'm just over there to fight disinformation. And if you want to claim to be a platform of free speech, then don't suppress me when I come over here and start using my free speech too. Nah, dude, I am perfectly fine and comfortable coming in and invading these propaganda networks where they are doing harm and spreading misinformation. And spreading the real information, because I think a lot of these people that are following these creators don't understand what is really going on out here. And so we need to communicate that. We need to educate the public. They've got these people locked down in an echo chamber. And we need to disrupt that echo chamber. That is my opinion. Substack is another free speech platform that I endorse. I like it. Okay, you can write little news articles on here. You can write the news article. You can post a video and use it like YouTube. And you can make a note and post like Facebook. Can we, the people, at some point be able to bring a suit forward to show that the president has criminal intent? Like, can we get a criminal investigation going on through a lawsuit by the people? If the president is doing something that is a crime and is making legislation to get away with crimes, and if the legislation is then part of the crimes, then doesn't that make all that legislation irrelevant? And so then wouldn't that mean that that legislation is outside of official duties? If it is being done with the intent to conceal a crime, get away with a crime, with criminal intent? Because he's losing a lot of lawsuits, and I think at this point we should be able to clearly make the argument that this behavior is intentional to violate the law. And so then I would say willful intent has been, I think, clearly exemplified at this point. What's it going to take for the U.S. Marshals to go and make this stop if the president is trying to mobilize the military against the people and making these kinds of threats towards Chicago? I feel that we clearly have what is a threat to the United States that needs to be acknowledged and dealt with for public safety as a nation. I give a fuck about my future, and I don't feel like I can plan a future with the shit that this motherfucker's doing. The Take Care Clause of the United States Constitution says that the president should take care to see to it that the laws be faithfully executed. So if the president or co-conspirators are found to be in willful violation of the law, then aren't they in violation of that clause of the Constitution as well? Like, Donald Trump is losing all of these cases, and I think there's a point at which we need to look at this as willful disregard, willful violation of the law, and declare that he is not fulfilling his constitutional responsibilities. So then if the laws that are being passed and the things that they're doing are being done with willful disregard of the law and as part of a crime, then can't that all be dismissed and cleaned up? I'm just wondering if there's a place that we the people have the ability to say that this needs to stop. I personally feel like what I'm witnessing is an assault against the people, especially now that the Trump administration is saying what they're saying about Chicago. I don't feel safe with this shit going on. I don't feel like I can plan a future. And I'm very concerned that my future is going to look like what the people over there in Gaza are experiencing based on what is happening here. I personally feel that if they're breaking the law and engaging in crime, and especially if it's willful, which it certainly appears to be willful, then that's not part of official duties. And so I don't think it should be protected by this immunity shit. You know, he has advisors. He could have advisors educate him on the law before engaging in the acts that he's engaging in. So then if he's not choosing to use the power of having advisors that are competent, that is a choice and it is a bad decision. And he still has the ability to have experts advise him because he's the president. So then I would say that this is definitely what we've been witnessing, willful disregard for the law, especially considering that he's losing so many lawsuits. So then can we the people take a case to the courts and sue, take civil action or whatever, take action to see to it that this matter becomes an issue of investigation and demand that Marshal Service do their due diligence to protect the United States and national security. That's what I want to know. Well, I feel a little bit better after blowing some steam. Other than that, as I said before, people need to be holding their state representatives accountable to be protecting and keeping safe the people of the state. California, Washington, the whole West Coast just allied to try and protect public health and to take measures to protect public health since stupid ass at the CDC, Robert F. Kennedy, just removed a shit ton of people from the CDC. Some states are not allowing ICE to operate in ways in which they're not allowed, where they're not wearing masks or identifying themselves and stuff. You know, there's things that could be done on the state level, and people need to be putting pressure on their state representatives to keep the state safe. This is also happening right now. Just look at the vehicles, I'll read it. This is Chicago. Chicago is mobilizing its defense ahead of Trump's occupation of the city with federal troops. Mayor Brandon Johnson ordered municipal salt trucks to create mobile roadblock in the city limits. And that is what we're looking at. So this is what we're dealing with. We do need to be holding our state representatives accountable to protect public safety And my biggest concern is public safety. And if that's what we got going on, if that's where we're at right now, which, I mean, I am not against what Brandon Johnson is doing. I think he's actually acting in the better interest of the people. I think that that Donald Trump, with what he said yesterday and what he's doing right now with this mobilization towards Chicago, is an act of aggression towards the state. I'm just using my First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press as an American citizen, as it is my constitutional right to do so, to express my thoughts and opinions based on my observations. There is an extent to which this, the President of the United States and our leadership in the United States needs to have some sort of will to do good for the nation, not deliberate harm. And I'm sorry, everything I'm seeing looks like they're trying to deliberate harm, and it also makes me very concerned that if that's what they're doing, that we're probably dealing with a foreign adversary. I'm just going to be unfiltered and express my thoughts and opinions. No, we're dealing with a worsening situation, an economy that's just going down the shithole, and this motherfucker barely took up office. He's only been in office for like 9 months. And this is what he's doing. He's engaging in acts of aggression towards the American people. That's what it looks like to me. So if the Congress won't do it, how do we hold them accountable? That's what I'm wondering. This shit needs to stop. There is a point at which the well-being of the nation and national security fucking matters, okay? This is who Donald Trump is supporting. Somebody who is doing that. A lot of things that Trump is doing seems to be supportive of Russia, including, like saying that we're not going to help defend Ukraine anymore and shit. All of this stuff is documented. I'm all over the place. You can check my timelines for all of these things. But I am disgusted. I am furious that our lives are being interrupted for this fucking fuckwit that appears to be attempting to engage in a coup. That's what it looks like to me. Other than that, like, why the fuck are you attacking the people of the United States? You want to say you got the Department of War instead of the Department of Defense. You're not going to defend the United States anymore. You're going to engage in war. And the first thing that you're going to do is declare war on Chicago. That's what it looks like to me. That's what I feel like I'm seeing. And so I'm going to express it in that way. That's what this motherfucker is doing. Damn right I'm pissed. So how do we make that shit stop? I don't think it's in the better interest of the nation at all. I think that all these cases that Donald Trump is just repeatedly losing cases and stuff, I think it shows willful disregard of the law. He has resources available to him to make right decisions, and he's not doing that. So he's not using those resources. That is a choice. Then it's willful. When the president is going to make the kinds of statements that he just made about the Department of War, which should be the Department of Defense, it should be defending us, then I get worried that my future is going to look like that. And I'm not fucking cool with that. And I don't want that for myself, and I don't want that for the other people in my own country here at home. So I'm very frustrated. I'm just starting my morning feeling very angry. And part of me kind of wants to fire up a live stream. Like, I'm so frustrated. I just want to hear other people be pissed off right now. And it's like, what are they going to tell me? I'm sure I already know what these conversations are going to be. I'm afraid of, the health issues spreading. I'm afraid of not being able to afford food or keep a roof over the family's head, take care of the kids, etc., etc. What am I going to do for my future? How do I plan a career? Those are the kinds of concerns I expect to be hearing out of the American people right now. So I don't even see a point in having this conversation, but what I'm concerned about is how the fuck do we make this shit stop? Can we sue the administration? Is this willful disregard of the law? Is this all on purpose? I think J.D. Vance's statements about the shooting of random people in a boat, slaughtering people on camera, and then showing that to the whole world is negligent and deliberate. I think that people in the general public, if you have any evidence of criminal conduct by this administration, please submit it to the House Judiciary Committee and flood the zone.
The president should take care that the laws be dutifully executed. He is not doing that and he is ignoring that clause, so he has been willfully violating the law. Can we the people hold him accountable for this if we file a collective lawsuit? If he is willfully violating the law and it is being done with criminal intent, then doesn't that mean his actions do not protect him from liability, as his actions are a part of a crime and therefore do not qualify as official acts? You're raising a core constitutional tension that has been debated since the founding of the country. Let's unpack it carefully. Scroll the Take Care Clause. Article 2, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution says the President shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. This means the President is constitutionally obligated to enforce laws passed by Congress. If he willfully disregards that duty, it raises a constitutional crisis, but the remedy is political, not judicial. Balance scale. Can we the people file a collective lawsuit? Private lawsuits against a sitting president for official acts are generally barred because of sovereign immunity and separation of powers. Courts have consistently ruled that citizens cannot sue the president simply for how he executes the laws. Mississippi v. Johnson, 71 U.S. 475, 1867. For non-official acts, things outside his presidential role, the president may face lawsuits. Example: Clinton vs. Jones, 1997, allowed a civil suit against President Clinton for conduct prior to his presidency. So, you cannot sue the president for how he enforces, or fails to enforce, laws while in office.
Unless it's part of a crime. If it's a non-official act, and I'm sorry, but if you're like engaging in willful disregard of the law, then I personally think that that is a crime. Is it a crime? Willful disregard of the law is a crime, but not a universal one. The term willfully often indicates a specific state of mind, meaning a person acted with the knowledge that their conduct was unlawful, with the purpose of disobeying and disregarding the law. I do think that is what we're dealing with here. In many criminal offenses, particularly under federal law, a willful violation requires the government to prove that a defendant acted intentionally and with knowledge of the law's prohibition, making willful disregard a key element of the crime itself. Consequences: a willful violation can elevate an offense from a misdemeanor to a felony or change it from civil penalty to a criminal offense. So if we introduce a civil case and can prove willful disregard of the law, then that can turn into a criminal investigation. If we're to have the president criminally investigated and we want a fair investigation, we need to be really loud about it. For me personally, like I was looking at, contacting the United Nations. We need to be monitoring our judiciary and demanding accountability from our judiciary, and let it act with the best intent towards the people.
Immunity versus criminal acts. If actions are deemed official acts, courts usually say the president is immune from private lawsuits while in office. If they are personal or criminal acts unrelated to office, immunity doesn't apply. However, the Department of Justice has a long-standing policy that a sitting president cannot be indicted while in office. Accountability usually comes after leaving office or through impeachment while in office. Checkmark tools for accountability.
I mean, if he's gonna attack the people of the United States of America, I'm personally not down with just like sitting down and waiting and expecting things to magically fix themselves. It's just telling me that the people cannot do anything, and I'm not cool with that. So if the president's conduct is so dangerous that it threatens public safety, right now the Constitution provides two extraordinary tools. The 25th Amendment, Section 4, the Vice President and majority of Cabinet can declare the President unable to discharge powers. Well, those people suck, so we can't rely on that. Transfers to the Vice President. Congress must then approve or disapprove. Military marshals cannot remove a president unless lawfully ordered under the Constitution. Well, they need to be lawfully ordered under the fucking Constitution, and that's what I'm sitting here trying to talk about. quo warranto proceedings. Some legal scholars argue a quo warranto action challenge to someone's right to hold office could theoretically be filed, but in practice in federal courts, they tend to dismiss these against the president. Well, he's willfully attacking the American people. Like, where is the fucking line in the sand? How do we make this shit stop? Citizens can sue over harms caused by unlawful executive actions. It's not okay for him to be mobilizing the military against the people. That's what I have to say, and I'm very fucking pissed off and disgusted with the shit that I am seeing. So I guess I'm going to end with this tangent. You know, we can have discussions moving forward in regards to these things, but I'm just done, man. I'm fucking pissed.